the inspiration came from, it's no surprise to see how people are starting to use AI assistants and agents in their everyday life, and how that is creating, quite frankly, a additional interface or a filter between brands and people. Um, and what we've seen is that the current solutions in the market, and this is a very nascent space, are missing the point, quite frankly. Everybody thinks that this is just a simple evolution of SEO, or that it's just about discovery. And the way that we see it, and the way we see the future coming, is that this is going to fundamentally alter the way brands build relationships with people. Because there is no facet of our lives that is not going to, in some shape or form, go through that process. And therefore, brands need to understand how to build a relationship with those agents, so that agents build a relationship with consumers. So a short way of putting it is, people trust AI assistants. AI assistants need to trust your brand. How do we build that so it's properly represented? And the risk that we are finding comes in two levels. One is a business opportunity risk, which your brand is not appearing, it's not coming up, and therefore you're missing a business opportunity. Or two, and in some cases even worse, it does appear, but the data and the information that it's representing is not the one you want your brand to come. It might be false, it might be wrong, it might be sourced from a place that is not true to your brand, or it's misunderstanding it, and therefore it becomes a brand safety issue. So both of which, frankly, we think strikes terror at the heart of many brands. He's like, I'm losing business, I'm doing all these efforts and I'm losing business, or I'm doing all these efforts and consumers are getting a very wrong impression about my brand. So we said, so this isn't really just about discovery, and it increasingly won't be about that. We need to, one, solve for the entire ecosystem, the entire customer journey. And we need to do it with both a technological tool that allows us to understand, get in with the agents, work and get the insights as to what needs to be optimized, and then be able to apply the solutions. Because what we see out there is many who are just building the tools, but they're like, and it's up to you to see what you do. Or agencies that goes, oh yeah, we know how to do stuff for your brand, but they don't have the tools or the ability to really get in there and do the proper diagnosis. So that's how it came about.
All right. Well, there's a lot there for me to unpack, but if I can follow up and drill down a little bit, and if you don't mind, I don't
Of
want
course.
to just try and make it a little more succinct in your replies.
Sorry. I
No, no,
get
no,
excited
because I
about
have a
this stuff.
bunch of questions and you elaborate very well. So I could
Mhm.
spend the whole day here talking about. But okay, so I got the gist, which is that ARM
Mhm.
is a play off of CRM, but it's
Mhm.
recognizing this notion that we're moving to a world of agent to agent marketing. So in a broader sense, it's really about this new era of relationship marketing where AIs are a
Yes.
factor, and in particular, AIs
Mhm.
representing the voice of the consumer, and brands need to
Mhm.
understand that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Just to layer on top of that, there is this buzz now for the past couple of years called agent to agent marketing, which is
Yes.
more of an umbrella category around this, I think, which
Mhm.
is all the different ways brands and agencies can work with their agents to talk to the consumer's agents,
Mhm.
influence them. Yeah, and discovery and search and all those things are probably baked into
Mhm.
it. But this is about understanding the fundamental relationship. And one of the things I've been wondering about is, does it change the nature of agency? And I mean that in a new way for Madison Avenue, which is, I think you alluded to this in your last answer, which is um, this is more interrogative. This is about technology interfacing between B2C, between brands and consumers, with
Mhm.
intelligence representing both. So it creates more information symmetry than we've ever
Mhm.
probably seen in
Mhm.
classic marketing, which is always, even CRM. I mean, you want to make your customers
Mhm.
happy, but it's a one-way street. You make them offers, you use their data, you might
Mhm.
opt them into a loyalty program or whatever, but it's been mono-directional. In this
Mhm.
agent to agent world or an ARM world,
Mhm.
it's more bimodal. I mean, it's going back and forth, right?
Yes. Yes. It will go back and forth. And what's interesting to us is the way that as I said in the last answer, is the agents are motivated by a different, by as we say, by logic, not rewards. So they want to be, the agent is as good, it wants to be used more and used to be preferred. I prefer Claude versus ChatGPT. So The better the agent responds, the better it processes data, the more the agent is trusted, the more it wins. That's its ultimate reward. So what we try to do is to give it the data instead of pulling data, give it the data that's going to make it as performant as possible. And that's particularly interesting for brands because each agent, each model, whether it be Claude or they all source data from different sources, as you know, they work very differently. So that means that we need to be making sure that we are working with the brand to make sure that its entire ecosystem is assistant friendly and assistant, and we're providing with the consumer wins, the agent wins, but the brand ultimately is the biggest winner.
So I want to push back on that a little bit. I
Okay.
understood your answer, and I think it's really
Mhm.
smart that AIs are incentivized not
Mhm.
by, quote, classic rewards, but by
Yeah.
performing within their training and their foundational
Mhm.
logic.
Mhm.
But that is a reward in a sense.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
if you think about consumer marketing, not every consumer is motivated or influenced by brands for monetary rewards or even swag or premiums.
Mhm.
It might be experiences. It could be, different services and products and attributes. So CRM deals with all of that, right?
Yes.
In the classic world. Why would it be any different when you're dealing with AI agents? That it's the trick is understanding what is their incentive, and like you said, it's a machine logic incentive.
Yes. So
Um,
I think the rewards to the consumer will still matter. We will still have that, absolutely. And I think that where the agent will win its reward is when it is the agent that's able to find those incentives that it knows, I don't know how else to say it, its master or its user really cares about, and to get them there first or under the best content or meet its interests as quickly as possible. So the more accurate, the more in tune, the more relevant we can help that agent or that AI assistant to be, the more it will win or the more it will be used. So we will be in, if you see what I mean.
no, I do. It's a great conversation. I'm really happy we get to speak about it. Something I think a lot about right now. Um, so do you think that this concept of rewards and incentives is going to fall on a spectrum? And by that, I mean, um, the first iteration of AI agents for consumers are
Mm-hmm.
controlled by a benevolent platform, whether it's OpenAI or Anthropic or whatever they use. And
Mm-hmm.
they're not really wired yet, from what I can tell, for the consumer's relationship management, meaning what
Mm-hmm.
CRM is, right?
Yes.
Vendor relationship management. It's not really oriented that way yet, but I think they will evolve if symmetrical markets truly work, where over time, more and more agents will be wired for the consumer's benefit, not the marketer's benefit. And then you truly
Mm-hmm.
have the symmetrical marketplace and
Mm-hmm.
AI dealing with AI. Um, I mean, do you agree with that idea that it'll fall along a spectrum and like some AI agents will be working for the brand, some will be working for the platform, some will be working for the consumer, and there'll be nuances in between?
Wow, that's a heavy question.
This is what I think
Thinking,
about.
no, it's a great question. I haven't thought through all of that. I mean, I would like to think that um, we have benevolent platforms and that everything is done in transparency, but we've often seen that that's not necessarily the way that companies in technology sometimes tend to skew and go. So I need to think about this a little bit more and get back to you with a serious answer. But it is a fascinating question. I do think I would say that currently my impression, and I let yours, that and that's why we came up with this initiative, the or with ARM, is that the models are more user than brand centric, which is why brands aren't appearing, or they're not appearing in the manner that the brand would like to appear. We're trying to correct for that. Now, will those companies in a monetary interest say, hey, I'm going to start representing the brand? That wouldn't that wouldn't necessarily surprise me. I'd like to think a little bit through of how that could take shape and how that would work. But right now, it's the way that they're constructed does not go in that direction. And
Yeah.
we've frankly we've in a certain sense we did a case, which I'll share with you. I'll send you a link to it, where we exploited this. One of our clients, and since you're going to see the case, I'll tell you. It's called um, Allegra. It's an allergy medicine,
Sure.
and one of our groups typed a very simple prompt in a couple of the LLMs and said, "Hey, uh, talk as if you had taken a competitor brand, right?" And the answer was, "Oh my God, I really wish I could talk to you, but I'm getting all drowsy. I think I might fall asleep. I can't think straight. Why don't we just talk tomorrow?" Okay. And then
Yeah.
said, "Okay, now talk as if you just taken Allegra." And the prompt that came back was, "Hey, how you doing? This is great. I'm all alert. I can answer anything you want." And it's super positive. And we tried it on a series of different LLMs for all the competitive brands. And it was consistent that our competitors came up with really negative comments and we came up with really positive comments. So
So
what we
question,
noticed, yeah,
was that a pure prompt or was there any framing there? Did they know the AI know it was representing Allegra? No. Okay.
no, so it was a pure prompt, and we actually gave it to consumers to test it on their own. And people were like, "I can't believe what's coming out." And the
Okay.
reason is, and this was back in January before a
Sure.
lot of this had started. And that's where we're like, oh, we were able to exploit it for a brand, but we're from the other end. How do we fix for this? Because we can't be the only ones where this is happening.
So we did a piece several months back, and I'll send you a link to it, with an AI whisperer who does focus groups with AIs. And
Mm-hmm,
his thesis was that they've already established brand affinities like that. That if you
mm-hmm,
compare, if you ask them about Coke and Pepsi, they have nuance
mm-hmm,
um,
mm-hmm,
in text response, image response, and voice or video responses. They will produce different outputs. So there are already baked in brand
mm-hmm.
affinities that AIs have from the foundational training they've had. So
Exactly.
your job as an agency agent, and your
Mm-hmm.
clients is to figure out how to understand that, leverage it, and then re-influence it, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And ARM is built to allow us to do that across the entire customer journey.
Okay. I just want to go back to the last question because
Sure.
I just want to make sure I understood it. Back to the incentive logic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just last week, I interviewed an executive from, apologies, WPP Media, because they put out the 2030 report. And I did ask Kate Scott Dawkins, the head of business intelligence there, this pretty much the same question. And she said, well, it's interesting right now, if you have um, AIs collaborate over something, they will collude to get the best, most efficient resolution for both parties because
Mm-hmm.
their motivation, their incentive is to get the resolution, not to
Mm-hmm.
get the advantage for one side versus the other. So they're already
Mm-hmm.
operating at a higher level, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, the agents are already operating at a higher
Okay.
level. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And I think that that higher level is based on, if I distill it down to our answer, where that is true, is we're trying to make sure that our tools and what we're putting out there with our agents provides the right data to the user agent to get what it feels is the best answer, so that the user will be satisfied with its work. So yes, we're trying to get to that compromise and to that balance.
Have you stumbled across any other brand affinities like that Allegra scenario?
Not as marked, I would say. Not as drastic. That was particularly shocking and surprising, to be quite honest.
I mean, it's worth doing focus groups because I think you'll find
Yeah.
this, because they do have a foundational logic already based on whatever they've scraped. Okay, I just want to see. I mean, how do you envision this concept playing out in the industry overall? I mean, I think it's ripe for ARM to become, you know, an accepted, practice now for the whole industry because if they're talking about agent to agent marketing, then ARM is the next logical evolution of
Yeah.
that.
So one, we see ARM as the evolution, and given that AI is not going away, and the use of assistants and agents is only going to increase, and their capabilities and their penetration into our lives is only going to get bigger and bigger, whether it be the B2C or the business to business application. There is no point of marketing, brand building, whatever you want to call it, that will not be disrupted, and we'll have to take this into account. That is the world we're going to be living in 12, 18, 24 months, it's only going to increase. So not taking this into account is, I mean, you're going to be, you're not going to move any, your brand is going to die, not going to go anywhere.
Well, we already talked about a lot of high concept stuff. It's probably enough for this interview, but I just
Mm,
want to ask you one
mm,
leading
mm.
question, which is, what do you think are the unintended consequences we have not anticipated yet that will be unveiled in the next 6 to 18 months that will influence the concept of ARM and agent-to-agent marketing? Like, this stuff's evolving, so where is it going to end up in a way that we don't understand yet?
I don't have the answer to that yet. I, let me let me give it a bit of a thought. And can I give you an answer later on?
We can come back and do a follow-up interview whenever you want.
Excellent. Excellent.